From creating that infamous smooching scene to blowing up the Department of Mysteries, just how crazy was it behind the scenes on The Order of the Phoenix? Let's find out.
3, 2, 1, action!
The young Harry Potter cast truly came to age during The Order of the Phoenix, in more ways than one. That included romance. Prior to falling in love with Ginny Weasley, Harry had the hots for Cho Chang.
Mistletoe.
But how did Daniel really feel about locking lips with Katie Leung?
The kiss was quite, it was fun.
The young stars were nervous beforehand, though, but Katie used her influence to make sure the mood was just right.
I made sure the set was closed and there was minimal people inside. And they sort of dimmed the lights. I don't know if it was so it would be less intimidating or if it was going to be more romantic.
However, it's tough to be completely romantic when there's a director telling you how to work the moves. How many times have you received feedback from a third wheel when you've been giving your significant other that sweet attention? Here's what Daniel had to say about being instructed on how to work his magic.
I mean, it would be a nightmare if you're actually kissing someone and someone said, "Move to your left." It would be bizarre.
But if you think Daniel and Katie felt weird about it, wait until you get a load of David Barron's thoughts on the matter.
It's a very odd thing to watch because it's kind of like watching your own children, but it's not. But you still feel a great sort of paternal instinct.
Of course, making out with the co-star seems much easier than juggling a blockbuster movie career with academic duties as well, but that was just another behind-the-scenes struggle faced by the actors at the time. In an interview with Coming Soon, producer David Barron revealed that they had to delay the production so Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson could focus on their schoolwork. We ended up with a 9-week hiatus in the middle of the film, which is very unusual. Every cloud has a silver lining because it meant that we were all able to take a vacation in the middle of the film, which is absolutely unheard of. It's never happened to me before, and it's never happened to me again. Then again, Emma actually wanted to return to her normal old boring school life for a while, so much so that she even contemplated quitting the franchise. Just like Hermione, Emma was all about receiving a good education, and she almost abandoned the wizarding world because attending university was just as important as fame and fortune.
Fame isn't everything.
That being said, Emma just didn't like the thought of another actress playing Hermione and stuck around till the end. And Emma was still able to juggle both her studies with acting. Heck, she even ended up attending the prestigious Brown University. Talk about a win-win situation, right?
Congratulations.
Unfortunately, Daniel Radcliffe didn't have the same Ivy League opportunities as Emma, even though some people thought he did.
Apparently you're going to Princeton. It's like, I'm flattered that you think I would get in. No, I'm not, I'm afraid.
While some stars felt pressured to get good grades, others weren't that fussed about studying. Like the true Englishman he is, Matthew Lewis put his school assignments during the film's production on hold to focus on mastering the game of cricket.
Do you always train at lunch?
I sometimes do homework I should have done the night before, which I should actually be doing now. I've got some in for one of the tutors, which I haven't done.
And then there were the jokers who made it their duty to cause chaos on the set. James and Oliver Phelps were just as mischievous as Fred and George behind the scenes. This got them into trouble, though. One time they got access to some walkie-talkies that had a direct link to the construction workers who were laboring across the road from the set at the time. So the twins pretended to be their boss and told the fellas all to take the rest of the day off. Naturally, the workers were more than happy to accept the order, but let's just say that their boss wasn't as happy. However, the miscreants had the perfect excuse when it came time to explain their actions, which they talked about in an interview with Metro. We were kind of given free rein because we could just claim we were method actors and we need to be able to express ourselves. While some of the franchise's established actors were focused on smooching, school, sports, and jokes, the newcomers were just happy to be there. The Order of the Phoenix marked the introduction of Luna Lovegood, which was a dream come true for actress Ivana Lynch. Ivana beat out 15,000 other applications to land the part of the wacky witch, but what was it about Luna that made Ivana so determined to play the character?
She's so in touch with her spirit that she's not really affected by other people the way most teenagers are. Luna's always herself, and she's so comfortable with that.
The filmmakers also thought Ivana was magical in the role. Here's what producer David Barron had to say about her.
Ivana brings such a strong sort of colour to the film. And she's so brilliantly eccentric as Luna Lovegood.
Ivana ended up becoming a major player, as Luna was a key member of Dumbledore's army. Matthew Lewis was right there beside her too, but he might not have been as grateful as Ivana to have been featured in the movie's standout scenes. That's because he had the misfortune of coming up against Helena Bonham Carter while she was channeling Bellatrix. And oh boy, did he suffer as a result.
Neville Longbottom, is it? How's Mum and Dad?
better now they're about to be avenged.
Remember that scene where the Death Eaters captured Dumbledore's army? Bellatrix certainly wasn't screwing around. The actors made it look so simple, and you'd think such a simple capture scene would have been less stressful than performing the more complex action sequences, right? Not quite. During the sequence in which Bellatrix holds Neville at one point, Helena put her magic stick so deep into Matt's ear that she physically injured him.
Fancy a little crucio.
That said, Matt thinks Helena's sinister actions made for some compelling cinema. Here's what he had to say about the painful experience during an interview with the folks over at Lewis & Lowe. "She perforated my eardrum, but being the professional I am, I just carried on. It actually was the best take. They used it in the film. I'm fine now. I can hear you perfectly." Plus, all of the pain was worth it for Matt in the end. According to the actor, his favorite thing about filming The Order of the Phoenix was being able to play a badass against the Death Eaters.
In the final fighting, he's one of the best, and he's very competent, and he holds his own against some of the Death Eaters, and he does get his payback on some of them.
And while Matthew never wanted to get revenge on Helena for hurting him, he might be pleased to find that her wand injured her as well.
I had a great wand. It was warped.
Really?
And I spent about 3 weeks doing wand combat lessons, and I got a blister.
The Order of the Phoenix asked a lot from its young actors, but the set designers also had a mighty task on their hands. It was an ambitious shoot that required an entire film studio to be at their disposal, and every set was built from scratch. For example, here's how they went about bringing the titular Order's secret headquarters to life.
We started by looking for an exterior. And we found a location. In the end, we decided to build it because it's more convenient and actually more economical.
Of course, no set was more impressive than the Ministry of Magic headquarters, which took 22 weeks to construct. That's a lot of work for a 10-minute scene. But the Ministry's first big appearance had to be awe-inspiring and majestic. The Ministry of Magic building is a feast on the eyes and deserved to remain intact forever. But this is the wizarding world where danger lurks around every corner. Naturally, this meant the impressive creation had to be destroyed. To bring the film's explosive climax to life, the filmmakers loaded the walls with, well, explosives, which obviously created some excitement on the set.
Oh, it's always good to blow things up. And everyone comes to watch you blow it up. We get about 50 or 80 people just showing up with their sandwiches, sort of waiting for the button to be pressed.
It wasn't all fun and games, though. No matter how fun they are to watch, explosions are still dangerous and can spell instant disaster if the slightest thing goes wrong. That's why the cast and crew had to follow strict rules.
Nobody can have their mobile phones on because it could evidently be triggered by that. So at any given moment, the glass would go, things out the walls, everything.
That wasn't the only challenge shooting these scenes either. It turns out that the set was so hot that it made life miserable for the actors.
It felt like we were in the center of the sun.
It literally did.
If you had to take Daniel's word for it, you'd think they had to shoot the scenes at an actual furnace.
They had to have a fireplace, loads of fireplaces in the room so that they would be reflected in every mirror. And so we were essentially burnt alive for 3 days.
That must have been a tough experience. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love our deep dive into some of the Harry Potter franchise's most ridiculous behind-the-scenes mistakes.